Hoy estamos en nueva directo. Vamos a ver porque ahí está la cosa esa. Ahí, está ahí. Ahí. Vamos ahí. No hay nadie. Ahí hay uno. Es como, ¿qué es esto? Mire, mire, mire. Mucha gente. No sigo acá. No sigo acá. No more. No.
Had the assault rifle and the SMG, opting to stick with the AR, and I think that might have been the wrong call, as the SMG could have offered him slightly more damage in that situation.
Wow.
The rifle comes through and punishes him.
And it was such a close call. That siphon was just the difference maker once that elimination came through. You see now on another engagement, it's between Wolfies and Maestro. Maestro running off this side on the front foot. The pedal is down. Maestro wants to just continue to push down. Shots go through. He's going to break through the wall. And Wolfie's is going to go down.
That was a huge pickup there from Maestro Wolfies, who was the second place finisher in the duos of the World Cup. We've seen him play so aggressively, the young player from the UK, but when he's put on the back foot,
Están subiendo ahí arriba.
Maestro did come through, got dropped down to 48 HP, but don't forget, in arena and tournament settings, there is that siphon enabled. That means when you eliminate an opponent, you will get either 50 HP or 50 shield back, depending on which one you end up needing. It prioritizes health first, and then they will also drop all of their materials, all of their loot, and an additional 150 materials, so an extra 15 builds that you can go over and sweep up. That ends up being really key, particularly in the mid and the late game now, as we're on board here with a Ventex who takes two really big shots and is put on the back foot.
He is, but luckily enough for him, Crash does not have any shield pop. Now, it's not going to be as good as he is going to be finding time to get those minis in that big shield pop. And Inte over there needs to find an aggressive push into the box and needs to catch him off guard. If Ventex is not able to get this medkit off, this does not look well for them. But it seems like the medkit will be popped, so he does get back to fighting HP. Under 50 HP is enough to withstand some shots. As Krez is now on the back foot, that's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to turn that defense that he was waiting on into that offensive moment. And now Krez is in a very bad situation. 6 builds remaining. No HP to really work with. He's going to have to hit a really big charge shot there. Dana coming through, not going to connect on these shots. He goes to the box, but Krez hits the shot, and that's another elimination for him.
And you talked about it. He needed to hit that big charge shot, holding it up and punishing the player. And particularly when you see two players box to box fighting with charged shotguns, it's really difficult if you're not able to get that finishing blow right away, like No Luck Nebby does there, finding Kira to close out the fight, because you can have— oh, Nebby, what? Don't even forget my point there. Nebby showing the power of the hunting rifle, showing up, catching two players on the outside. However, look in the bottom right-hand corner. The third player is now rotating by. So can Nebby get all of these resources and get out without getting engaged on? But those are two monstrous shots. He's got to feel confident there, and definitely not living up to his name. Plenty of luck going on.
And you took the words from my mouth. Nebby with an amazing aim there, just getting what he needed to get started. However, someone who is not having amazing luck is Janice right now. 134 effective HP. It means he fought either off spawn on rotation. Now he is going into the orchard, which does allow these campfires and the apples that drop that give you 5 HP per consume. He's going to be in a good spot. He's able to really farm up. But Janice drops Stevie stacks. And look at his medal count. It was only 97. A man of Stevie with only 97 medal is not what he's used to. And this is definitely impacting his gameplay.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough there. Also, tons of players will know where he is, stoking that campfire, putting off the smoke signal. You can see him, those apples dropping, but instead opting to burn the extra wood. Good trade-off there and good awareness of where he was on the map. However, you do see Spen is lurking and trying to catch out the FNCS Invitational winner here. Janus over on the side, and he does. He gets him real quick. That's the problem. Again, we talk about it, the If you're not ready for it, it can be a game ender right there. You get caught out farming. And honestly, I think that's a little bit on Janus there. You don't want to be on the edge of the zone and caught gaining materials. Like, yes, you did just get in. You can feel safe. You're back up at that 100 health, 100 shield threshold. But you have to know other players are rotating from that side and going to be behind you. And Spen is actually going to get harassed there as he tries to rotate out. We're going to hop on over to a three-way fight going on over here.
Oh, and now already down to just 2 players. Controller getting into the boxes and getting the shots, picking up 2 eliminations back to back. Flecken gonna fall there, and these are what you need to do in solos. You need to get into the box and you need to finish the eliminations quickly, because like we saw, if you come and you fight and you box fight and you build fight, and more people are gonna come and they're gonna realize that, and you are going to fall. So very good play there from Controller.
And so far, it's been the story of the third party. You hear players talk about it all the time, whether it's your friend or your favorite streamer. That third party is the extra player who comes in. So if you're taking a 1v1 and somebody else rotating by says, oh, you guys are preoccupied. First, we saw Nebby picking up the 2 shots there, and then Controller closing it out with that epic tactical shotgun. Going to be on board here with Ovation Orion. We've seen him pull off a number of plays, but again, really good at kind of those ambush-style tactics, as you can see here, trying to set up a little bit on this player who's rotating in front of him. You can see the map in the bottom right-hand corner. That is the next storm zone revealed, so you can see we're pulling a little bit central. We're just kind of south of the authority, or just over the authority, with a little bit of a southwestern side there. So most of the players will have time. The Slurpy Swamp players will have tons of priority, and Storm Surge has just turned on, which is something you might not be familiar with if you're watching there. So Storm Surge is actually on in every game, but is only activated when you're above a certain number of players left. That number of players for the third zone is 70, so with 83 players currently left, 13 will be impacted. What it does is those who haven't done enough damage to the opposing players will then take 25 damage every 10 seconds. This is to try and encourage a little bit of active play, which we see here from Orion taking out Queasy, who's going to be queasy about that, just being game ended right there before the rotation occurs, not picking up any points in that match.
And what a smart play. He went in different angles and didn't just crash right off the top, because he knew Queasy would have been expecting that, and found an angle, got in the box, got the elimination. That also, with Storm Surge, it causes people to make plays like that. Arion may have decided that, you know what, a couple tags were good, I'm good to go, move on. He's put him pretty high up in the Storm Surge, but he didn't want to take the chance. He wanted to make sure he was above at least 100 damage on the threshold. So he decided, I got to go in, I got to get in the box, because when Storm Surge starts hitting you, nobody's going to let you shoot them. No one's going to let you even look at them. They're going to be sitting in their boxes, they're going to sit there and wait, and not even open windows, not even make any movements, because they know, hey, that guy's getting hit by a big purple lightning bolt. We can't attack him. Is well, all of a sudden Phoenix is actually going in, but maybe a little bit of a misplay as he gets eliminated.
Gets punished right away, and Tigwe has everything you could possibly want for a box fight there. I mean, just look at the loadout, having the epic tactical shotgun, the epic burst AR, crash pads, plenty of shields. So Phoenix might have felt a little pressure to go in and create some space, but Tigwe punishing very succinctly there, as now we swing on board. Milan, Seventor, Kiko, and Anas all directly on top of each other. They become legends. Anas has played incredibly well. Clement also joining in on the party, and this is what we talk about, that Storm Surge. All the players who below, Anas being one of them, are going to be forced to find tags. That damage is going to start coming through. He's going to need to convert on it, and he converts brilliantly there, picking up Supremacy's Clement in #1 elimination, and also closing in on that first placement threshold play.
It was such a beautiful play by Anas, because he knew Clement had that push. He said, you know what, he's going to go for the pickaxe. I'm just going to go ahead and edit that wall out. So he can get the initial shot, and that got him the elimination. That initial shot there gave him the damage just to follow up with another tag shot. That rare tactical shotgun, it does a lot of damage if you're able to hit all the pellets, and that's exactly what he did. Now, on his way, he got the pepper placement threshold, just came through as well. Now we'll see it again. He's got a very great loadout to secure himself a very big placement here. And we know Anas is very, very capable, like we talked about. He's already talking to another player. He's looking at 8 now.
But Anas just trying to kind of follow in this rotation path to as close to similar zone. So if you're kind of new to watching competitive Fortnite, joining for the first time in Party Royale or Twitch or YouTube or Twitter, or watch Fornite.com. What do you care about as you're watching this game as the Nos will take it down, or what are you looking for? Mongrel and Thomas HD also picking up eliminations to put us below the Storm Surge threshold. The first thing is whether or not opponents are picking up, people are picking up eliminations. You can see that to the right of the player's name. It's right next to kind of the little mark there. And that will represent 1 point every single time as they go through. Additionally, you're worried about them picking up placement. In this format, the first one occurs after 25 players have gone down, then the next one occurs after 50 players have gone down, then there's every 5 players. And if somebody ends up falling from 41st or 31st or 26th, that's a huge changeover. But now, during the middle part of the game, as everyone's rotating through, what they're looking to do is establish space for themselves, make sure they're safe, and then find tags so they're not threatened by that Storm Surge that we were talking about ahead of time. As now we hop on board here, MCS like Squeezy, who has placed top 25 in 78% of his games this FNCS, best in the EU, and that's something to contrast with the fact that he also plays really aggressive early in the mid game. If he gets caught out and he's able to convert, he's had some of the highest elimination totals throughout the entirety of the FNCS club.
And I was going to say, I'm surprised he's not going into the player offense. Maybe he's in front of him. Someone else tried it and he's waiting. You can tell he wants to get into the top. As soon as he sees that player, he wants to go in, but he's got Letwick right above him, so you can tell he's being a little bit more cautious this time around. In the heat and the qualifiers, he knew he had a little bit of leeway after that great performance that he had. He was able to play a little bit more aggressive and still get top 25, which is insanely impressive. Now, the biggest impact of the game right now is going to be this Kit Shockwave launcher HD's inventory. He's already got the elimination because of it. He's also already near the next zone. He doesn't have to rotate very far, which is really good for him because he only has 9 series.
After that, this one will be the half in, half out, kind of signal the transition into the end game as Thomas helps end Bebby's game where he can be sent back and have to queue up after that. And Thomas hits him with a favorite emote. Hey, if you got that emote here in Party Royale, mimic it right now. Let Thomas know you're with him and sending him the aid because he has a really good shot to ride this game out with where he's positioned, because after the 4th zone, you don't want to head super central. So all of a sudden, if that half in, half out zone pulls to the south and is on this high ground, and he has all the Shockwave launcher plus a launch pad plus the Mythic Charge shotgun, it's going to be really difficult to force him out of a priority position. He's going to be somebody to watch over the course of this game who's going to impact the other players around him.
And he's already doing that just with his AR. He impacted Sebi. He's going to take down passive. And this is very, very good for him because he doesn't have to go too aggressive to get these eliminations. They're kind of being handed to him here as he's just taking a grasp of his surroundings, looking at every possible angle and getting eliminations. And speaking of that, Mr. Savage going to pick up an elimination there onto Verstroki.
Yeah, and you can see that action kind of being driven as players are forced to rotate in and start to get priority position, because it's not only just about being safe here, it's about establishing yourself for the next rotation, because that half in, half out is so important in terms of priority. But right now, Reason is 5 below the damage threshold, so once this zone clears, he'll start ticking. You want to keep an eye on the top left and then the bottom right-hand corner. That number will need to drop down to 50 players before Storm Surge turns off. And if anybody we're watching is below the threshold, they'll start taking that 25 damage every 10 seconds. And Reason just able to get himself above it with a nice tag there, and he's starting to get aggressive. We talk about the utility of the crash pads. We saw it in the package beforehand in Ball and Shadow. Talked about how good he can be aggressive on the low ground, and he gets Heatsy there, which is a huge elimination as well, because he pulled that half in, half out zone we talked about. Everyone who banked on it being up on the high ground saying, hey, if it pulls up here, I can win the game. Well, they were wrong. It pulled away from them, and they'll be the ones who have to rotate as we hit top 50, meaning Storm Surge turns off, second round of placement points goes through, and everyone is going to be rotating.
You saw Savage just waiting with that edit open. He was looking for any possible angle to pick up an elimination. Lois as well. He's kind of fashioned himself a little bit of a base here that's got these pyramids edited in a nice way so we can see down on players rotating. And this is where you want to be. If you do pull half in, half out, you want to be looking for players. You don't want to be exposed because obviously that you could get sniped like Flois might do here. Some people Mongo picks an elimination as well, so he's still here in this game and still fighting as well. As Flois is trying to snipe somebody out of the sky and was not able to hit it, but a valiant effort.
Valiant effort, but just a little wide.
Pues chicos, pues no le entiendo nada, pero no estoy viendo eso, que fue muy divertido. Padre, siempre quieres. Mira, como no hay nadie